Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. I'm your host, Mari Riesberg. Over the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Fred Moskowitz, educator and best-selling author. Please enjoy Fred Moskowitz. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. Today, I'm chatting with Fred Moskowitz, educator and best-selling author. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Mari. It's great to be here.
I am excited to have you here. We had the opportunity to chat a little together the other day, and I just know that we're going to have an awesome conversation. So
Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking forward to this. Let me tell you, Mari, as someone who works in the investment space and the financial space, I I have been on a lot of podcasts, but this one is a different theme, different flavor. It's one that I love. It resonates very much with me, the whole idea of creativity. And I'm looking forward to talking about it because it's a different subject than what I'm used to speaking about on podcasts. So I'm really excited.
awesome. Well, I am super excited to have your expertise in the industry that you are in over here in the creative end of things, because I think there's creativity everywhere. And I look forward to seeing how we bridge that gap between
Yeah.
investing and creativity. But before we get there, why don't you take just a couple of minutes and let our listeners know a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. My name is Fred Moskowitz. I'm known as the alternative investment expert. And my focus is on uh, the whole idea of alternative investments, which is the activity of buying and building assets.
Mm.
So you're investing in these assets and they generate cash flow and income for you. And so this is different than the styles of investing that you may have heard about or growing up, right? It's very different. It's a lot more hands-on, but it's very powerful. And I've seen a lot of wealth generated this way,
Mm.
and it's something I love speaking about and teaching about. So that's a little bit about me and my background, and really looking forward to getting into the conversation.
Nice. Well, let's just jump right in. When it comes to creativity, what does it mean to you to be creative?
Well, for anyone, this is a very personal question, right? We automatically think about, when it comes to creativity, about the creative arts, right? Whether it's
Right.
acting or music or drawing, all those traditional styles, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much more than that. And as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, I see creativity everywhere,
Hmm.
everywhere. So many facets, but I'd love to talk about it from the context of in business, being in business, right? How does creativity show up? Well, there's so many ways. Here's something I learned from one of my mentors, Seth Godin, the marketing, one of the top marketing experts, and he says this. He says that it's all about showing up, asking questions, solving an interesting problem, and turning on a light.
Yeah. Oh, I
Eh,
love that.
Right? Like finding, and this is the premise of business, finding a problem to solve, and can you come up with a good solution and bring that to the marketplace? And when you do that, you're creating value.
Yeah.
And if you've made good decisions and good implementation, you could have a flourishing business around that. But this all comes out of the creativity because you see a problem and you came up with a way to solve it. Maybe it's unconventional. Maybe a lot of people are stuck in the rut of, hey, we've always done it this way and this is how we do it. And you come up with something completely revolutionary. Think of all the innovations that have come up, right? Think about some of you that are above a certain age may relate to this. The telephone book. Remember the
Right.
telephone book, the booster seat that you would put under the
Yes.
chair for a child so they could sit up at the table. The telephone book, the yellow pages. Well, that's all but gone now. It's been replaced by Google, by
Mhm.
411.com, all of these things that you can get on and find anything you need. Um, Taxis, the traditional taxi cab for so many years is
Yeah.
now been completely disruptive by rideshare, by Lyft, by Uber,
Yeah.
and all these traditional business models where someone came up with an idea, a creative idea, and a solution. Those are
Hmm.
disruptive technologies, disruptive business models, but they all come from creativity. And so those are some examples, but also it's about this to sum all that up is find a need in the marketplace and then fill it. And if you're able to do that, you can do really well.
Absolutely. That's a great reminder. The just to break it down in those pieces of finding a need and filling it, which at times could be incredibly challenging and difficult. And in your experience, how do you go about finding a need and filling it?
Think about this. What do you do that you find frustrating? What
Mm.
life experience, encounters, business transactions do you do on a regular basis that frustrate you, that you
Yeah.
hate doing? Very, very easy. Right? What do you have to do that you don't like doing,
Yeah.
or interacting in a way that doesn't leave you with a good customer experience? I'll tell you something. As an investor, I invest in all these different uh, deals and projects and different things,
Yeah.
and I also run an investment fund, and so my experience as being an investor, a client, um, I got to see so many examples of how not to treat a client,
I
how
bet.
not to treat a customer. Um, right? What's worse than calling, investing in a traditional brokerage, maybe a brokerage house? You spend time talking with people there, and you open up an account, and then you just become an account number. That's it. You're
Right.
faceless. You don't have a relationship with anyone. Well, guess what? I set out to do it different. I
Mhm.
create relationships,
Mhm.
lifelong relationships. It's a different, completely different experience. And so I've had the benefit of having so many examples about how not to treat clients, how not to treat customers, how not to not communicate with them. All these different, some of them are small things, but they matter in a big
Yeah.
way. And for me, I feel that life is all about relationships,
Mm-hmm.
relationships and introductions. That's how you get new opportunities. That's how you're able to um, ask for help when you need it, when you have a problem. You can
Yeah.
get connected with an expert that knows how to solve a problem and has the experience in doing it, and they can provide you guidance and expertise, and that helps you grow as a person, as a business person,
Mm-hmm.
grow in life for any problem that you might have, right? Isn't it sometimes human nature puts us in a place where it's like we're afraid to ask for help?
Yeah.
But if you go to a professional and ask for help and get the right guidance, the right counsel, you're going to be so much better off. And then in the end, you turn back and say, oh, why did I wait so long to do that?
Exactly, exactly. No, I love the relationship piece because I think so much of creativity can really get ignited when we're in relationship or in conversation with other people or bouncing ideas off of others.
Yeah,
Creativity doesn't really happen in a vacuum. It needs
no,
some it needs additional players to show
it
up.
does. And let's talk about that. The players,
Yeah.
right? Have we, a lot of people know this quote from Jim Rohn that we become the average of the five people we spend the most time with,
Oh,
right? And
yeah.
so think about that. Who are the people you're spending your time with? Who is in your proximity, your
Mhm.
group of friends and associates and colleagues? Um, and really focus on that. If you're not happy with where you are in life, I always say this, look at who you're spending your time with.
Yeah.
And are those people sitting in a place where you want to be, where you aspire to be? Is it going to be growth for you? And if
Mhm.
the answer is no, then maybe you got to make some changes. Maybe you got to think about changing that circle, that immediate circle, that proximity, the people around you. It has such a deep influence on us.
Yeah.
And if you want to make a change, start changing the people, start spending more time around other people that maybe they're successful in the thing that you want to get better at, whether it's successful in family or successful in business or successful in fitness and health,
Yeah.
right? Whatever area it is of life, that's
Mhm.
how you can strive to get to the next level is be around people that are already there and ask
Yeah.
them for help.
Oh, I love it. And the reminders, you've now said it a couple times, is asking for help. I love this because so many people really struggle with asking for help, whether it is in business or in personal life or in creativity. So, when you think about times in your life where you have needed to ask for help, what has helped you kind of cross that threshold to reach out for support?
Well, yeah, this is a great question. Here's something that just came to me. Great example. Um, so a number of years ago, I became interested. I said, "Hey, I want to learn improv acting.
Yeah.
I want to take that up." There was a deep curiosity, and I said, "Oh, this is great. It's a creative activity, right?
Mhm.
Something I have zero experience with, totally out of my comfort zone in a
Mhm.
major way." And so it wasn't that I wanted to become an actor professionally, but I knew I wanted to become a better speaker, a better public speaker. And I
Yeah.
knew that putting myself in that arena was
Mhm.
going to give me skills and confidence and expand my abilities to be a better speaker.
Yeah.
And so I signed up at a local theater, improv acting class. And you know what? It was so much fun. I had no idea what I was getting into. We learned the
Yeah.
concept of yes and, which is a valuable life skill, I think.
Mhm.
Um, Getting up on stage, working with the people around you, collaborating together in the moment where
Mhm.
you have no plan, you don't know how it's going to end up, but all you know is you're going to have so much fun along the
Yeah.
journey. It was fabulous. So I really love that. And that was a very impactful experience for me.
Mhm.
But that's
Yeah.
all around creativity.
Absolutely. I mean, it really sounds like you had this idea of how you wanted to improve something or what skill you wanted to flex, and this was a creative way to make that happen. And simultaneously stepping outside of your comfort zone
Yeah.
to really expand that experience of how do I incorporate all of this into the growth and trajectory you're on in your own business and incorporating all of these skills and pieces, but also just like committing and signing up. Because I think that piece, the wanting to and then taking the action to do
Yes.
it is where so many people have those hiccups.
Yeah. So many people fail.
Yeah.
They get an idea you they get in someone gets you get an idea, and the best way to have success is within 5 minutes, take an action, take a step, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's sign up for a class or schedule a call, make a phone call, send an email,
Mm-hmm.
take some step, go on Amazon and order the book about the thing you want to learn about.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, as small as it is, just take the first step and start building the momentum, because so many ideas just go right to the graveyard because we didn't take action on them. And the way to avoid that is don't even get up out of your chair. If something came to you, hey, there's this great seminar, this great workshop, I'm going to sign up, or I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
email the organizer to ask about it, ask questions, whatever that might be.
Yeah. That's a great reminder that the distance, shortening the distance between the idea and the action
Yeah.
can really be helpful in.
And it all starts with the small step, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When you think of kind of, starting or being an entrepreneur and the challenges that come with that, which are many, quite often, how do you face those challenges and kind of creatively solve problems that arise for you?
Yeah. Well, as I said before, having a good support network around
Yeah.
you is super important, and that comes from the people you're around.
Hmm.
If it's in business, then maybe you're spending some time around other business owners, networking, going to events,
Hmm.
going to places where other business owners are, because especially if you're an entrepreneur, it gets lonely, right?
Yeah.
And so you want to be around other people in a positive environment
Hmm.
where you're going to find others that you go there, you support each other, and you never know who you're going to meet. Could be your next business partner or someone that gives you a referral or an
Hmm.
introduction to some opportunity. So you never know how that is. Other things that I love is getting back to the creative piece is take up a skill, learning a new skill, a
Hmm.
hobby for fun.
Yeah.
And maybe it has nothing to do with your business. I'm
Hmm.
talking about things like uh, doing creative writing.
Hmm.
My example of the improv acting. Maybe you like to take up a musical instrument, take some lessons, painting and drawing. What about learning a foreign language? All
Mm.
these different things. Now, some will ask, well, how's that relevant to business? And here's what it is: it expands your mind,
Hmm.
it flexes the creative muscle, doing the activity because you're learning, you're failing,
Yeah.
you're adjusting and growing. And that flexes his muscles, just like when you go to the gym and exercise and
Hmm.
train. It's the creative muscle. You're flexing that. Maybe you want to take up writing. Well, um, can you write a book? Sure, sure you can. But what if instead of worrying about writing a book, just say, hey, I'm going to sit down every day and write for 30 minutes. And I don't care if I'm writing for the waste paper basket. It doesn't matter. I'm
Yeah.
just sitting and writing whatever comes to mind. Well,
Hmm.
as you do it more and more and more, consistency is the key. You're going to get better. And then maybe ideas come to you, inspiration comes to you because you get in that creative flow.
Yeah. Getting
And
that creative flow is, I mean, I think so many people talk about it and it can be elusive. And I actually interviewed someone who took the work of Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi flow and expanded on it, which was so
mm,
fascinating to learn kind of how he took it to really more a nuanced space of niching it down to help you get into flow more easily by surrounding yourself with specific things and task orientation and all of those
Yeah.
pieces. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's no, that's great. And here's the business tie-in, since you
hmm,
asked me about that.
yeah.
Why is this relevant? Well, let's say you're working in your business all day, you're doing your activity and solving problems, and then you leave and you go taking your piano lessons or practicing piano or drawing and painting, whatever the activity is,
Hmm.
your brain shifts completely.
Hmm.
You're in a different mode. Now you're in the creative mode and you're doing that. Well, what happens to all the work the problems that you had? They're still there. But the interesting thing that happens, Mari, is your subconscious mind never stopped working on those problems.
Yeah.
And now you leave space because you're focused on doing something else. So you could be in the middle of practicing your instrument, playing music, and then all of a sudden, oh, here's a way I could solve this problem. It comes to you out of the
Yeah.
blue because you're doing something completely different. You've relaxed,
Hmm.
the stress is gone, and your subconscious mind kicks in the high gear and continues to solve that problem.
Yeah. What
And
a
this can be
great
so powerful.
Absolutely. I mean, that's like 85% of people get those light bulb moments in the shower when you're doing
Yes,
the
doing
mundane task that allows that subconscious mind to really expand and explore. So it is working behind the scenes while you're
mhm.
doing other things. I'm so curious. This is kind of taking a left turn, but in your life and your experience of creativity, what's your earliest memory of being creative?
My earliest memory was I was fascinated with inventors, inventions as a young age. I loved reading about them
Hmm.
and experimenting and just different things. I loved taking things apart. I was very mechanically inclined. I went on to study engineering. I studied computer engineering. That was a natural progression for me.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to see how do things work and explore that. And so that was always, as a child, something I really took to.
Yeah. And how does that kind of sentiment of, figuring out how things work, how does that show up in your life today?
Well, I'm great at strategizing around solving a problem or putting together a system, maybe putting together a system and process. So that's something
Mhm.
I do that I've worked through and I got good at doing. I can take a system and process that I've documented and turn around and give it to someone else. And now
Mm-hmm.
that frees me up to do right. And you have help in which is super important in business. You want to keep coming up with systems and processes and then find someone else that can support you and you take that off your hands. And so that's very important. But that is something that it's the basis of all franchise businesses
Mm-hmm.
is exactly that. When a, a business owner wants to get into a franchise business, they're buying all the systems and processes and intellectual property
Right.
about how to run the business and be successful at it. And they're learning it from those who have gone before them.
Yeah. I love that reminder of like you don't have to do it alone. There are people who have done this before. You just have to sometimes find them
Yeah.
and pick their brains about it. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you interface with a wide variety of people, people
Oh,
who may
absolutely.
know a lot about investing, may know nothing about investing and
Mhm.
being curious about it. How do you kind of navigate working with people who think they suck at investing or think that it's not for them?
Yeah, this is a really great question. I love being an educator, a teacher. I do a lot of speaking at events, at conferences,
Mm-hmm.
teaching about the different skills and concepts that I use and implement. And everyone got has to start from somewhere,
Right.
right? Some people grew up with such a fear about money and a scarcity mindset, and they
Mm-hmm.
can't even get out of their own way. And so maybe that's something that we talk about and work on.
Mm-hmm.
Other people say, "Hey, I've built up this whole portfolio of rental properties over 2 decades. I've done very well with it, and I'm just tired.
Mm.
I need to shift strategy, do something different, and everything in between." And so it's important to realize where you are. Everyone starts from a different place.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that. I love having those conversations and going through some deep exploration around where have you been, where are you now, and where do you see yourself moving forward? What are your goals and objectives?
Mm.
And having those conversations. And there's no one answer. Everyone has a unique perspective, unique needs, and unique situations that have to be
Yeah.
taken into account.
Yeah, it sounds like so much creativity goes into that, just in the listening to like where someone is at and being able to, work within their structure and also educate them on some outside of their comfort zones
Yeah.
experiences that can help grow and expand their understanding and experience of the investing process.
Yeah, that's so true. Think about this. Someone that's in their early 20s working in a professional career where all they know about investing is the 401k plan at work,
Yeah.
and that's it. And they say, well, I guess I'm investing. I'm putting a percentage of my paycheck each time
Hmm.
into this thing that I expect to grow over time, right?
Right.
That's one perspective, and then another one can be uh, someone that is uh, in their 50s or 60s, having the whole career that they've worked,
Hmm.
and they have a lot of money, and they say, "Hey, I want to find ways to put my money to work for me. I
Yeah.
want to learn how I can create assets where I'm sending my dollars out to work, and
Hmm.
each of my dollars become my own employee working on my behalf, creating income. And if I've done a good job, those dollars will come back to me at the end, and they'll bring friends with them."
Right. I love that. It's a great creative understanding of investing and all of that. Well, this has been such a treat to chat with you. I just have one last question. What does it feel like in your body to be creative?
It feels childlike.
Hmm.
Childlike. I always think about the way children are so curious.
Hmm.
They're fearless. They are not afraid to ask questions,
Yeah.
even if they're ridiculous questions. And if you've ever spent time around young children, just watch and observe how they are. And I think that all of us as adults,
Mhm.
life kind of takes its toll, and we forget how to be childlike.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's a good reminder. Spend some time around young children, and remember, we were all there at one
Yeah.
point, and sometimes it's good to get into that energy, get into that feeling of being
Hmm.
childlike.
Totally. Well, thank you for sharing all of the bits and pieces and tips and tools that you have today. If people want to learn more about the work you do, the things you have out in the world, how could they go about doing that?
Yeah, thank you, Murray. I always love connecting with listeners, with anyone interested in investing and interested in any of the topics we spoke about today. And the best way to connect with me is to visit my website. You can go to giftfromfred.com. And I imagine that some of you might prefer a little bit of an easier spelling. So go to giftfromfred.com, which takes you to my website, fredmoskowitz.com, and you can connect with me there. I have a newsletter you can sign up for, all about investing and business topics that I love writing and sharing that with subscribers on a monthly basis. It's free, and I do it as a value add service to the community.
Nice. Well, I will put links to that in our show notes so people have easy access. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your reviews, comments, and questions. Check out our website, sustainingcreativity.com, for upcoming offerings and creativity coaching. Tune in Tuesdays for our next episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.